YouTube, what is going on? We're back another Wuthering Waves video where we're playing Wuthering Waves, and I want to let you know we're going over Carlotta's kit. I'm going to break it down a few things. Obviously, she comes out in a day. This is a pre-release analysis based off the official information we have. I'm going to give you some team compositions. I'm going to give you what I think her playstyle is, because I feel as if we might be low-key thinking about her a little bit the wrong way. I was saying she was a hyper carry. I don't know if I agree with that anymore after looking at this. So we are doing a Carlotta giveaway. If you want, go to the Twitch chat, do ! giveaway, and then after that, you can sign up for the giveaway there. We're giving it away on January 3rd. I will be getting you a guaranteed Carlotta. If it takes like 10 pulls, you know, to guaranteed, I'll throw some more ass right on your account. I ain't gonna do you dirty like that, but I will be pulling on your account, even if we lose a 50-50 until you get Carlotta. So let's just break this down, because she is very interesting. I'm very excited for her because she is really the first. I don't consider Jixia DPS, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. You know, everyone's going to get mad at me, but whatever. I digress. She is a Glacio pistol dealer. These are the Ascension mats she's going to use in case you were curious and you wanted to farm, pre-farm. I don't even know if all of these, I don't even know if these are in the game right now. I'm not going to lie to you. But so let's break this down. So these are her normal attacks, right? So she does her basic attack, perform up to 2 consecutive strikes, dealing Glacio damage. Necessary measures with multiple crystals, which is going to be those little crystals that you get from attacking, from doing your intro skill, I assume, and from dodging that I showed in the other video. These little crystals right here. So it says, with multiple crystals, Carlotta's basic attacks are replaced with necessary measures. Chain up to 3 strikes, dealing Glacio damage. Each strike of necessary measure consumes 1 multiple crystal. So, you know, once they do an actual attack, you see it goes away. Bam. You do the 3 strikes. She pulls out the musket. Boom. All right, cool. Heavy attack, deliver a charge attack at the cost of stamina, etc. When Carlotta's substance is full, her heavy attack will be replaced with containment tactics, consuming all substance. Now, I believe that is their Forte Circuit, if I was reading this correctly. We'll get to the Forte in a little bit, but it's the same thing like with Chingli. She activates her Forte Circuit from holding down her charge attack, right? So, but here's the thing. Here's what's going on. This is what's making me hype. Consume all substance to deal Glacio damage and reduce the cooldown of the resident skill Art of Violence by 6 seconds. So when you are actually doing and playing her correctly, you are going to be bringing your resident skill cooldown massively. And I believe most of these things are based off of resident skill damage. I think. We'll see. I don't know. But so midair stuff is nothing really crazy. A dodge counter, this consumes 1 multiple glaze. You know, like nothing too crazy. You know, whatever. We're gonna skip that. Excuse me. So we get into the good stuff. Resonant skill. So she has 2 parts to her resonant skill. It is not a Wuthering Waves kit without the kits like looking like the Declaration of Independence, being long as hell and tons of information. So again, let's just go. So deal Glacio damage, inflict dispersion. Dispersion. I don't know. I'm a stupid American. Dispersion. I'm a Western content creator, so I don't know how to read. Press resonant skill again shortly to cast a chromatic splendor. So if you see right here, this first cast, that is going to add dispersion, which I assume is some sort of debuff against the enemy. We seem to be going heavily towards a debuff meta. Keep that in mind, right? So then once you press it the second time, then you jump over and do that stuff. So target with dispersion are immobilized for 1.5 seconds. So I think that is the debuff. They're kind of just laying there. And then consume all multiple crystals. So whatever you have, I believe you would probably need at least 3 is my assumption. I could be wrong. Again, we'll find out. I'll drop a more in-depth guide when she comes out. But yeah, I most likely will be needing 3 just based off of this image that I'm seeing here. Maybe her skill straight up gives 3. So, you know, that's cool. But I would also assume you would probably want the max stacks possible to get the most damage out of this, but whatever. So yeah, the resident skill enters a cooldown after a while if Chromatic Splendor is not cast or Carlotta switched off field, similar to Jinxi's E, nothing too crazy there. Her Resonance Liberation. So here's the thing. The Resonance Liberation is where gamers, MTash here, and this changes everything. The Resonance Liberation is where her kit really shines, and this is where I think that her playstyle is a little bit different than what I assumed. But again, let me give you the genuine, objectively information first, and then we'll go into my thoughts. Right? So, era of a new wave. So deal glacial damage to all targets in the area and inflict deconstruction and targets, and then activate Twilight Tango. can be cast mid-air close to the ground. So deconstruction is a debuff. So this was not the debuff. My apologies. Desperation is, I guess, just stunning them. This is the debuff. This is what I was referencing. 2 Ds, double Ds, big Ds. Dealing damage to targets inflicted with deconstruction ignores 18% of their defense. So off rip, built into her kit, if you're a Genshin Impact player, like Zhongli's, shield, right, or his pillar, will give you some sort of defense shred. She's giving you defense shred just off of her ult. Then we have the Twilight Tango. While in Twilight Tango, press normal attack or Resonance Liberation to cast Death Kneel. Each Death Kneel grants 1 meta vector. Now, the meta vector, there's 4 of them. Those are the little Forte bars that she has once you initially cast this first portion of her ult, right? So if we look right here, you're casting this portion of her ult. She now has to do 4 attacks. So she's going to do that 2, 3, 4, and then she's going to get this big PP damage numbers, right? So when 4 meta vectors press normal or liberation to cast finale. All substance is removed. Excuse me. All substance is removed when activating and ending Twilight Tango. Cannot perform basic attack, necessary measures, heavy attack, and heavy attack while in Twilight Tango. You can only perform that specific musket. You can only perform that move, which is nothing crazy. And then Carlotta fire powers shots and muskets, summon 5 shards to attack the target. Consider as resonant skill damage. Yeah, so Death Knell is going to be resonant skill damage. You're gonna want to level that up. You don't want to level that up in her Forte for sure. Carlotta moves into the direction of the movement input with each shot of Death Knell, and then deal glacial damage to an area. The resonant skill. Twilight Tango ends after casting. Yeah. So final finale. Death Knell. Resonant skill damage. We were correct on that assumption. So Forte Circuit. So this is the other thing that is kind of crazy. And again, I'll just give you the info first. Heavy attack. So when you have her Forte Circuit max, you do the heavy attack, right? So it says when the substance is full, which is her initial Forte stacks, not in her burst, and Tinted Crystals is activated, hold on normal attack to Cobalt Substance and cast heavy attack Imminent Oblivion, after which Tinted Crystals enters cooldown. Deal glacial damage, considered as resonant skill damage. What do you want to build? What talents you want to build? And reduce the cooldown of the resonant skill Art of Violence by 6%. Now, 6 seconds, excuse me. I don't know what the exact cooldown is, but a 6-second reduction probably means that it might be on a little bit of a cooldown. It might be on a little bit of a cooldown, unless they're just infinitely giving you resonant skill. Again, this is now a little bit of a reach when we're putting on the tinfoil hat, but 6 seconds is a pretty big cooldown, right? Pretty big reduction, so the cooldown is probably higher. When substance is full, enter final bow state. Increase the damage multiplier of Resonance Liberation era, Resonance Liberation Death Knell, Resonance Liberation's Fatal Finale. This effect ends when Carlotta switches off the field during Twilight Tango or Twilight Tango ends. So, when you do her Forte, you're getting a damage buff to her Resonance Liberation. Her Resonance Liberation is already giving you a defense shred. I think it's at 18%, right? So it's pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have very high expectations for this kid. She seems like she's gonna do a lot of damage, but most of it will not be front loaded. It'll be back loaded towards the end of her kit, right? You're gonna have to first get the stacks and then her Forte, and then she's gonna do big damage. So that's one of the reasons why I think she might not be the hyper carry unit, but let's see. So substance, Carlotta can hold up to 120 points, gain substance triggered by resonance separation, 30 points for substance upon intro skill, 10 points for every 1 multiple crystal consumed. You could hold up to 6, so that's 60 points right there. 10 points for every 1 multiple crystal consumed upon casting. Yeah. Consume 1 multiple crystal in the store. Yeah. It can hold up to 6 multiple crystals, cannot gain while in Twilight Tango, which we already knew. Restore 3 multiple crystals upon basic attack 2. 3 multiple crystals upon heavy attack. This is just telling you how to restore it. And then her intro skill, dealing glacial damage. Outro skill, nothing too crazy. And these are her talents. I actually haven't even looked at her talents at all. I'm not going to lie to you. This I've not looked at. So inherent skill. After casting Resonant Skill, Chromatic Splendor, Carlotta can perform mid-air attacks while being immune to any damage. Oh my god, or interruption before mid-air attacks. When Carlotta's on team, the active Resonator's flight stamina is reduced by 20%. People are going to be mad about this. I will address this in a completely different video. I'm not getting to this whole rant right now. But so that's kind of crazy. Carlotta, she's going to be able to do that mid-air strike and not be interrupted, unlike Camilla, right? Which is very nice. And then intro skill, resonant skill, blah 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 blah, and heavy attack can inflict deconstruction. Nothing but positive. These are both going to be one. I mean, you're always going to want to get the 2 Forte notes, but these are both really good. And so now it says combat guide, restore multiple crystals upon casting various, including intro skill. So they're giving you their version of the combat guide of what you want to do. Press resonant skill to attack and control the target, restoring multiple crystals. Press resonant skill in a limited time to consume multiple crystals to attack. Restore Forte gauge based on the number of multiple crystals consumed. You want a heavy attack, and then after that you want to press resonant separation. Makes sense. Resonant skill damage, main damage dealer. So the reason why I think she could potentially be a little bit more of I don't want to say quick swap. I don't know if quick swap is the right term. We have to see how her Forte regeneration is and like, this whole cooldown on the skill and whatnot. I will say the new Glacio set, that will be her best in slot. So the current Glacio set you have now, don't even bother leveling those echoes. They're dropping a new Glacio set. You're gonna have to work on that. So in terms of team compositions, if you are running her as hyper carry, if she's a hyper carry unit, because again, I really don't know. Obviously, Gigi is going to be her best. That is going to give you Glacio buff plus resonance skill buff on the outro. So that's nothing but a massive W's in the chat, right? If for free to play options, you could look at Yang Yang to get more resonance liberation. She's going to give you those particles. Genshin Impact turns. I'm sorry, like when you do the outro skill, and she has a little bit of CC to it, so it's not really that big of a deal as well. You could run Yang Yang. I do know Lumi and Tauchi have the resonance skill outro. I won't really swear for Tauchi for you because nobody uses Tauchi. If you say you do, you're lying. But and then so, I don't know how true this is. Someone said Alto increases projectile damage. I don't know if that's true or not. I probably wouldn't run Alto, but if that's true, maybe that's a potential option. I don't know. But obviously Gigi will be the best, and then I think Yang Yang. Now, if she is not this hyper carry unit where you really don't want to be on field with her as much, you kind of just want to bursty. I think her and Verena / Shorekeeper Chang Li might be kind of crazy. There would be no active synergy with actually wait a second. Hold on. What does Chang Li's outro do? Hold on. I'm about to look it up real quick. I don't think Chang Li gives a resonance skill buff, right? If she did, that'd actually be kind of crazy. But hold on, let's see. I'm looking up Chang Li. But while I'm looking that up, oh, Resonance Liberation Amplified. Yeah, so their outros would not correlate at all, but you would still have the option to do the bursty combination. So you could, go in with Verena, get your burst, get your Forte, Concerto in with Carlotta. Carlotta, get her stuff up real quick. I assume her rotation won't take that long, but again, she seems to really be doing backloaded damage, not front-loaded damage. It's not like equal throughout the whole kit. It is specifically backloaded damage. Do her burst, conclude the whole thing. While that's on cooldown, you can swap over to Chang Li, burst with her, Forte with her, 2Es, and then swap back to Carlotta. That is a possibility. That is just what I have in my mind. I'm not going to tell you that is going to be the meta thing. I will probably do that because that sounds like fun. But yeah, there's no synergy with that kit at all. Like with the 2 outros. So, but overall, this is her kit. Obviously, Static Miss is going to be her best in slot, and I believe they actually if I go over the weapon real quick, let me go to the Wuthering Waves Twitter. I believe they also brought up what her weapon does, which I actually don't know. Let's see. Okay, cool. So Last Dance looked beautiful, and then 72 crit damage is crazy, brother. 72 crit damage, bro. Just get it for the stat, guys. If you get a 72 damage crit rate weapon, right? You literally just need to focus on crit rate, and you're good. You're good. Off rip, this is probably a must pull just for the stat stick itself. But okay, let's look. So increase attack by 12% every time intro skill or resonance aberration is cast, Resonance skill damage is increased by 48% for 5 seconds. This will most likely increase her damage by bare minimum 10 to 15%, just as my assumption. Static mist might be good. I'm not gonna say it's bad, but goddamn, boys, the stat stick plus the actual passive is gonna go crazy. It's gonna go crazy. It's gonna go crazy. So yeah, but that's my early pre-release Carlotta analysis. I think again, TLDR, she's very bursty. She really is focusing on her burst and her forte. Get your stacks to get your forte up. Once you get your forte, activate your forte. Then after that, you Resonance Liberation. Her rotations are going to be very, very simple, especially if she's a hyper carry and can be enabled to do that hyper carry. Again, we don't know the cooldowns. And then again, best in slot would be Gigi. Possible replacements could be Yang Yang and anybody who gives a resonance skill buff outro, Lumi or Tauchi. You probably want to go with Lumi, I assume. And then if she is not a hyper carry, I would probably want to run Changli. Or Zhang Liao, right? With that being said, let me know what you think. I love you, and go into that giveaway. Mwah.